approximately 1 in every 59 children are born with autism. Albert Einstein.
Dr. Einstein had no speech until age 3. Steve Jobs, he was a loner. He brought snakes to school.
Leonardo da Vinci. This man was far advanced on the autism spectrum.
I'm not naughty. I'm autistic. And I just get too much information.
Alright, so it's day 4 of the sensory processing training at Hutt Hospital. This is Lloyd I.M. and you're listening to Takiwātanga, Love Not Cure, Exploring Autism One Strength at a Time. Alright, so it's day 4 of the sensory processing training at Hutt Hospital. And we only had 2 families joining in that session, 3 person to be exact, plus the 2 other experts. This was originally a 1 p.m. session, but was rescheduled to 9:30 a.m. due to availability and so forth. So I think they are trying to manage the rooms as well, and because it's a little bit busy during this time because of the rising COVID cases and stuff. Anyway, during that session, it was not a theory discussion, and we have activities. So what I mean is it was an activity focused discussion, and we were introduced to this tool named Mind Map. So in my case, personally, it's no longer a new tool for me because I use that tool at work. And mind map is a kind of diagram to visually organize information. So basically, it's just a diagram that you draw on a piece of paper, or you can draw it online as well. If you have a computer, you can draw it. There are applications around it where you can itemize all the different activities or functionalities or areas, should I say, that will need to be identified so that you can target or change a certain behavior. So this is a mind map, M-I-N-D, mind, and map, M-A-P. Just in case you would like to do some research about it. But I'm going to try and post a photo of this one somewhere online, so at least you can also have an idea on what it would look like. So I actually don't have any, or I never thought that we can use this one for autism. I always thought that we are just going, or we're just, or this tool only applies to work. So which is kind of amazing as well, because given I am pretty much aware on how this is used, I guess we can start using the tool or this tool more frequently. So what goes on in this mind map is, again, like I said previously, that we can use this as a tool to target certain behavior which we would like to change. Again, this is more of a focusing kind of thing. You need to focus on a certain behavior, just one behavior at a time, so that at least we won't overwhelm the person or the child that we are trying to understand on how we can change the behavior that needs to be improved, if that makes sense. All right, so again, how is it is currently drawn in this page or in this paper that we were provided is that if you have a target behavior, it sits on the center. So you just need to identify your goals for your child, and then what target behavior is more important at that point in time. And then once you have identified your target behavior, you'll put that as the center of the page, at the center of the page, and then it usually is being drawn where you have multiple arrows going outside of the center towards different areas where you would want, or where there will be a possible impact on that certain behavior. So in this example, we have a target behavior of running away. What this is, or what this means, is that my son usually runs away every time we go to school visits because of his transition period from kindy to primary. So I guess during that time he is being overwhelmed by the place. So what happened in this mind map is, we have a target behavior at the center, and then there's an arrow pointing towards outside on the right side of the corner, which is sensory. So this may have an impact on this target behavior. And then there's another arrow pointing downwards to the other corner, which is anxiety. An arrow pointing downwards to at the center, which is developmental ability, and also an arrow pointing downwards towards the lower left corner of the page or the paper, which is diagnosis. And then at the center left of the page as well, which is physical. And then another arrow pointing towards up to the right corner, which is behavior. And another one which is pointing upwards at the center, which is emotions. So these are the different areas that we are going to look at to see what is impacting the running away behavior of my child. So for the sensory, we have like, is it too loud in the area or at school, or are there too many people in the classroom, which is making the sensory more aggressive? And then visually overwhelming. So when you look at the classroom, is it visually overwhelming? And then will singing helps in that specific point in time? Or what other activities or other tools that we can use inside the classroom to lower the sensitivity of the sensory at that point in time? And then from there, you can find what tool or tools you can prepare on when going to school. If it's too loud, I would say you can bring an ear muff for your child that your child can use at when visiting at school. So at least it's not going to be noisy in his point of view, or in his perception or sensory perception. And then if it's too bright as well, we might need to lower down the lights inside the classroom. But again, it's going to be a bit challenging when you have a good sunshine outside, because that brightness outside will also be able to enter the classroom, which is going to make the classroom brighter as well. And then if we go to anxiety, what behavior or what instances does result that may result to running away? So every time in our case, every time he is running away, he for sometimes has his cup full when he wakes up in the morning. So meaning he kind of like woke up at the wrong side of the bed in the morning, and we need to manage that behavior. So once he is already on high alert, remember we did talk about the alertness or alert levels. We need to manage that alert level from high to just right. So we need to introduce some activity or anything that will lower down his alert level. So at least his anxiety or cup will no longer be full, and we can lessen whatever is in that cup. Then next we have developmental ability. We have identified that he is very smart. He is reading at his stage or at his age. And then he can do spelling, writing, though he's non-verbal, he started to talk or speak, though at some point or sometimes it doesn't make sense. I mean, like he will just say something out of a certain situation which is not relatable to that instance. But yeah, he started to speak, but it's a bit tricky because we cannot say that he's non-verbal. He can't just communicate it properly or communicate properly to us. But he can speak, he can sing, he can write, and so forth. And then he also got good motor skills, and he's very strong. So that's in his developmental ability area. And then if we move on down to the diagnosis area, he was diagnosed with autism, that's the only thing that we have written. But if you have other diagnoses, you can write other things as well. And then moving on, we have the physical area. Was he's running away because he is sick, he is tired, and he just want to go home or somewhere. So that's the physical area. That's the only thing that we have identified at that point. And then behavior. What's his behavior making him run away during school visits? Was he confused of the routine because he's doing transition at that point, and then at the same time after that he will eventually go to his kindy, and then he might, or we may have change some routines that he's usually aware of and comfortable with doing. So that's the thing. So is that something that is resulting to that? And then another thing is the behavior. He wants to explore or likes routine, which is, yeah, I think I did say that. I was talking about the physical, and then, yeah, I was looking at a different area. But yeah, that's all about the behavior. Sorry about that. It's a bit confusing as I am looking at this material. But anyway, yeah, that's all about behavior. Does he want to explore? That's why he's running away. He wanted to run away outside of the school, or just because he is now confused and with his routine, so he just wants to go home and so on. And then the next area is the emotion or emotions. Was he upset at that time of running? And then was he excited or happy? Or did he get enough or bored during the session? Because sometimes there are kids who are, when they get in a session or in a visiting session in a classroom, they just get bored because it's not something that they wanted to do at that point in time. And then was he confused or overwhelmed? So yeah, these are the different target or different areas that may have impacted the target behavior. But yeah, like I said, this is a good tool because you can start itemizing what activity or sensory activities your child is doing. All right, so that is the core discussion that we've had. And there might be, or there was an example that was given by the other parent, but I am unaware of the details about the situation that they had, so I'm not gonna talk about that scenario. So it's more of like what we have experienced. So the reason why we've chosen the target behavior as running away is that because frequently my son is a bit overwhelmed, or most of the time overwhelmed during visiting sessions, and he usually runs away. Where I can remember there was a time which my wife told me that when they have done the visiting, or they are going to visit the school, intermediate school, or primary school for the transition period, there was a time that when they have arrived in the classroom, my son just said, "Hi," and then "Bye-bye," and then he just ran away and went to the gate, and he's trying to climb on the gate, and trying to climb the gate so he can, go outside of the school compound, which is a bit tricky because that's going to be he's got no sense of danger, actually, to be honest. He will just run away, and he won't care if he's going to cross the road with or without cars. He's not gonna look. He's just gonna run straight, crossing the street, which is kind of very worrying for me and my wife as parents. All right, so this is the target behavior. This is the mind map tool that we were taught how to use on our case as parent with a child with autism. So yeah, it's going to be a bit tricky at first, because especially for those who haven't heard about mind map, and for me having experience on using this on a different area, which is work related, and it's easier for me to understand how it's used in at work. So it's a bit tricky for me to use this one on this level of activity. So I guess that's it for me for now. Sorry, it's a bit confusing, and a bit what you call that? It kind of sounded like I don't know what I'm talking about here, which is kind of true anyway. I'm just trying to learn about this, how to use this on an health perspective rather than work perspective. But I know the concept is just the same, but in terms of how you will apply it, it requires more deeper understanding, because you will need to remember and see how your child is behaving for one area only. So we're not talking about multiple areas, it's just one area. So yeah, that's how it that's what we've discussed during the last session. So I guess that's it for me for now. I'll be back with another interesting topic on next episode. So that finishes our sensory training, which is a 4-day training held at Hutt Hospital. And if you know there are trainings available for you that you can utilize or you can join, which is free for most of the time, especially if you've got your assessment or you've got your formal assessment. This is usually free, that is being driven by either different ministries or different sectors around your area. They should be available. Just ask your point person or your coordinator, and they should be able to give you information about it, or they should be able to put you on the list. So yeah, I guess that's it for now. Every tangata phi Takiwātanga, or person with autism, is different. If you fail with one strategy, don't stop. Keep moving forward. Always remember that for every failure you encounter is one step closer to your success. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, Memuto te whakawa haere. Let's stop judging others. Memahi tahi tato. Let's all work together. Kia maya, kia kaha, be brave and be strong. Please don't forget to like and share so others can also find us. Thank you.